Good morning, everybody. Today is a beautiful Saturday morning, and today is August 29, 2020. You know, the great saints of the church find their names more than once in the liturgical calendar. We have Saint Peter and Saint Paul. They have their solemnity on June 29, but they do have other events of their life that are commemorated in the calendar. The chair of Saint Peter, and then also the conversion of Saint Paul. And then we do celebrate also the dedication of their basilicas in Rome. And then we have Saint Joseph, who has March 19 and May 1. And these are commemorating his fatherhood as a patron of the Universal Church and as husband of Mary. And then also Saint Joseph the Worker on May 1. And then we have Saint John the Baptist, whose birth we celebrate as a solemnity on June 24, and whose death we celebrate today as a memorial. So August 29 is the memorial of the Passion of Saint John the Baptist. You might ask, why the birth solemnity of his birth, his nativity, is a solemnity, whereas his death is just a memorial. Well, it's the mission that was given to him. He was born to be the precursor, to be the prophet who would cry out to prepare the way of the Lord. Well, the mission of John the Baptist was clear from the start. He would be, as I said, the voice in the desert, the voice that shouts, "Prepare the way of the Lord." And he would be the precursor, the one who would go before the Lord to prepare his way, to give his people knowledge of salvation by the forgiveness of their sins, as is familiar to us from the Canticle of Zechariah. But then comes a problem. What if Jesus had already come? And he had indeed come in the lifetime of John the Baptist himself. Did it mean that the mission of John the Baptist had ended when Jesus came? What happened to him when he came what he came for had already come to pass? And here, the answer is that his task had not ended. Far from it. For he remained a prophet, preaching against the wrongdoing, especially of Herod Agrippa, a preaching that cost him his life. And that is what we read in the Gospel of today. And I'd like to read it from the Gospel according to Mark. Herod was the one who had John the Baptist arrested and bound in prison on account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip, whom he had married. John had said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." Herodias harbored a grudge against him and wanted to kill him, but was unable to do so. Herod feared John, knowing him to be a righteous and holy man, and kept him in custody. When he heard him speak, he was very much perplexed, yet he liked to listen to him. She had an opportunity one day when Herod, on his birthday, gave a banquet for his courtiers, his military officers, and the leading men of Galilee. Herodias' own daughter came in and performed a dance that delighted Herod and his guests. The king said to the girl, "Ask of me whatever you wish, and I will grant it to you." He even swore many things to her. "I will grant you whatever you ask of me, even to half of my kingdom." She went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" She replied, "The head of John the Baptist." The girl hurried back to the king's presence and made her request. "I want you to give me at once, on a platter, the head of John the Baptist." The king was deeply distressed, but because of his oaths and the guests, he did not wish to break his word to her. So he promptly dispatched an executioner with orders to bring back his head. He went off and beheaded him in prison. He brought in the head on a platter and gave it to the girl. The girl in turn gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard about it, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. the gospel of the Lord. Dear friends, I will not go into a detailed explanation of the gospel, but I just would like to say that the death of John the Baptist is a clear message for us that our tasks here on earth do not come to a stop. There is always something to do for the building of the kingdom. Like John the Baptist, whose task as prophet did not cease upon the arrival of Jesus, but which continued on with his preaching, his arrest, and martyrdom. As what we always say as Salesians, we shall rest in heaven. Our tasks do not stop here. So technically speaking, there's no retirement for us. And maybe for all of us, your zeal for the kingdom stops not at the time that you have received accolades, for the religious, not at the time of your first profession, for the priest, not at the time of the ordination. In fact, your task has just begun. And with all of us, our vocation continues. It is a vocation that goes on as long as we live, just like John the Baptist. I wish you all well this long weekend. Have a great day, and God bless you.